Okay, we are
Yep,
on air, and our guest today is Wong, CEO at ProximaX, and he is a CTO of the new paradigm. Lon, go ahead.
Yes, hi. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
It's morning here in Australia.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to talk about the new paradigm, the STO, the new paradigm that's going to take place and change the world in the years to come. And before I begin with that slides and presentation, I'd like to introduce a little bit about myself. My name is Wong, and I'm the CEO of ProximaX. So basically, ProximaX is a platform. It's a platform that is an agglomeration of service layers that we have put together as a technology stack so that people can actually develop on that solution. And this technology stack has basically a few elements. One element is the blockchain, obviously, itself, the streaming component as well, super contract. We call it super contract because it's a variation of smart contracts. And finally, we have a storage element in this stack. So together, they become a technology stack for us to be able to develop solutions on top of it. So it gives us a multitude of variations where we can develop solutions on from financial technology right up to IoT to storage of information, streaming of information, and so on. So this is what ProximaX is about, and what I'm about to share with you today is a solution that we have developed, and it's called EDLX, and it's based on STO, and how we have actually transformed or put together a solution for us. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sure. Yes, yeah. For sure. We're here. Everything is good. Don't worry.
All right, okay, because I hear background, someone is saying hello to me. All right, anyway, so this is what I'm going to talk about today, the new paradigm. Okay, so let us take a step back. Yes, I'm presenting. Someone is talking to me.
No. You know, maybe on your devices, on some of your devices, something turned on. That's why you're listening. Here we are only now in Zoom. Nothing where.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's take a look at the background of how the STOs actually emerged from the days since 2013 to be exact. You know, in the beginning, we had coins like projects like Peercoin, Feathercoin, you know, things like. Okay, sorry, I've been hearing voices. Anyways, I hope I'm not deluded. So, in the early days, you have things like Feathercoin, Peercoin, and WorldCoin, Lucky Coin, and all those coins that came out as experiments. Those are basically experiments from the emergence of Bitcoin as a blockchain technology. This happened, you know, in the 3 years following the launch of the Bitcoin blockchain technology. And come 2013, we had people talking about pre-mined coins. And with pre-mined coins are generated ahead of the project so that people could subscribe to it. And those coins were basically utility coins at the time. But fast forward to about 2016, 2017, these coins have morphed into what we call ICO, where people subscribe to these coins and it became some sort of an investment utility rather than a store of value for these coins. And this actually went out of control in 2017 when billions were raised. And eventually what happened was there was a cross between the ICO coins and the STO coins. And STO, as you all know today, is security tokens, right? And that's when the jurisdiction started clamping down, and we had the USA coming out with the Howey test, which was a test of a precedent that happened in the 1940s, right? Of people selling securities as a result of a slight change in the way the securities were sold, but then nevertheless they have been defined as a security, and therefore you can't sell openly in the public as a security. And that's when today, as we see, most coins are actually security tokens, and there's a fine line between store of value as well as something that is of utility versus whether the coin is a security or not. But unfortunately, if you really look at it, most coins are actually a security token. So that's the reality of it. And because of the very fact that many of these coins have been promoted as an investment coin rather than a store of value or a utility coin. And that's where the difference is. So if it's promoted as a security coin, then it fails the Harvey test, which means it is a security. So that's the background of STO and background of security tokens. So moving forward, what we have is that the security token is today obviously is blockchain powered, right? It can be offered globally, but there's a caveat here. Security tokens can be offered globally, but unfortunately, much of the restrictions happen in North America, and that's where it becomes an issue with a lot of offerings around the world where residents of North America are probably or cannot really participate in security token offering. Then we have another salient feature of the security token where it can be traded in cryptocurrency in certain jurisdictions. And it can be traded in multi-currency in all jurisdictions where the STO is an approved security token for trade or for offer. And the other thing is that it doesn't need clearing, it doesn't need settlement, it doesn't need brokers, it has no need for custodians because most things are on-chain. So, and the last thing is that it can be listed in multiple exchanges, like how a crypto token could be listed in multiple exchanges, provided that these exchanges adhere to some regulatory guidelines and framework where the tokens must have, the operators of these exchanges must have some sort of AML management, some sort of KYC management, as well as the investors' background and profile where they are approved for investments. So this is where the security token is as a novel way of public offering of securities. It's slightly different from the traditional stocks, but or securities, but basically they are different in a manner where the regulatory framework is adjusted to include security token offering on the blockchain powered platform. So moving on, we have a table here. I have a table here, but in particular is the bottom half of the table where it shows the difference between a public security where stocks are traded in traditional exchanges like NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange or London Stock Exchange, where the security token has a very different way in distribution and in trading, where it requires no broker, it requires no clearinghouse, it requires no settlement system, and it has fractional ownership. And the cost of transaction obviously is lower, as well as the listing cost, plus the regulatory requirements are much less stringent, or it has some leeway in which these tokens are being offered to the public. So, and these are the things where, in the end, it shows that the security token has a much more propensity to grow, and it has a very different approach to how traditional securities are being offered and traded in markets. And I think one of the key things that's happening around the world is that the traditional exchanges are not going to sit around and see what's happening to the security token markets. They have realized that the security token markets is one thing that is going to happen and going to change the world and change the way the traditional capital markets are going to be traded in the future, because security tokens, as I've highlighted earlier, is that they are much more progressive and much more basically much more efficient, because middlemen are all been taken out of the equation. And that's a $1 trillion industry that we're looking at that has been taken out of the equation. So if you look at the mainstream solution using DLT and blockchain companies using, again, DLT, you see that the mainstream have a lot of problems. I've got two pictures here to show that there's a huge car there being transported or being added on with a plane that's trying to fly it. It's not going to fly because it's clunky. It has a car body with an engine, and then you have an aircraft and an engine. You have two engines trying to make things fly. Whereas if you look at the blockchain solutions, you have basically an engine that has wings and is well designed to fly, right? So that's where the difference is. So the solutions and mainstream companies like NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange or Australian Stock Exchange is that what they have done is that they are working on a Lego-like adding on solutions into their existing monolithic designs. And there are also rigid compliance based on traditional operating procedures and legal complications, too many value chain players. And this is where it is a showstopper when it comes to value chain players, because you have the security custodians, we have the central security depository, you have the settlement and clearing houses, and it's too disruptive to the entire industry. And if you look at the entire industry, it's not just an exchange or the security that's in question, that are in question, is the entire ecosystem that have been thriving on it for the last 400 years, right? And it's morphed itself into a huge monolithic industry where you can't pull them apart because a lot of players will be affected, and this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And what we are trying to achieve as a blockchain solution with STO is that we're getting rid of the settlement and clearing. We have no legacy, we have no brokers, we have no custodians, security custodians, we have no central security depository, because all this are actually on-chain, right? And this is where the challenge is for traditional markets, where they can't pull that apart and they can't do anything about it because it affects a lot of ecosystem players. If you look at what happened to the brokers in the years before this, like 25 years ago, you still can buy your security through brokers. Today, you don't need to buy through them. You just buy through the internet, right? And these brokers, the physical brokers and the broking houses, has reduced themselves more so into a internet-based sort of broking, where do not need physical brokers to take your orders, right? So their roles have already been diminished, but they still play a big part in settlement and clearing today. But you don't need them to do any settlement and clearing. In fact, you don't need a settlement and clearing platform or institution to do any of those. So this is where is going to change the paradigm when it comes to STO that bears a lot of resemblance. In fact, a lot of things that we can do with STO as opposed to what traditional stock markets or security markets are doing. So this is where we have something that is going to set to change the world. So if you look at what STO is about, basically you have three types of solutions out there. One is entirely smart contract driven. The other one is some sort of a smart contract driven with mostly embedded smarts in the DLT itself and a database driven exchange. And then you have the DEX, where it is entirely on-chain. But DEX has a solution, has a problem where high frequency trade is quite difficult. DEX means distributed exchange, where everything is online, on-chain, and that's where the problem is, right? So more likely, the model where it's totally smart contract or where it's semi-smart contract and embedded smarts in it, running alongside a database-driven exchange, something like what we see in crypto exchanges today is what's going to happen. And moving forward with that is how regulators will see it and how implementers will implement some sort of hybrid solutions. And as what Jorge has said earlier, there is a problem that we're going to have later on where we have interoperability as a major issue that has to be addressed by the industry, the blockchain STO industry. So these are the three models where I can see things are happening and how it will slowly evolve in the next few years. So the challenges that we have when it comes to
please, we have to finish. The time is over now. Yeah, just
okay.
Hit accelerator. Yeah.
All right. Okay. This is the last slide. So what we have is that the challenges we have looking ahead of is reputation of some of these STOs because they are in the usually they are being promoted by emerging economies where they are less favored by the investment community. And then there is the multiple listing issues, as I've said, where there's a lack of cross integration. There's a need for central security depository, shareholder management, KYC, and then there is also control. There's the need for centrally managed control as well. So I think with that, I finish my presentation, and yeah.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Leon Wong. Yes, perfect presentation. Yes, we have to heard a lot of very interesting and helpful information for us. We have to go off now on air and move forward for the next speaker. Yes, nice to see you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.